Hi, now first thing I'm actually going to go into is housekeeping because usually I don't show my face on YouTube until this happened. Uh, Now, this little thing here, that doesn't work. This mic doesn't work. And that makes this a $50 piece of junk when I'm trying to do video game, like, yes, video game movies. This doesn't work for that. And I'm not going to use the mic that I'm using here because it picks up everything. I tap on the table and you hear it. So I don't want you to hear everything around me when I'm doing video games. The only thing I really want you to hear is my voice over of the game that I'm playing. So this isn't the right kind of quality in order to do that. It is sort of a right sort of quality to maybe do a vlog or what I'm going to be talking, or maybe an explanation of what I'm going to be talking about today. And what I'm going to be talking about is community, and community in games to be more specific, because this is still a gaming channel, and that's sort of important. Now, the first thing we have to do before we actually go anywhere into this is we have to define what a community is. And luckily, environmental science has already done this. You have your individuals, that's one person. There's the population, that's a group of individuals in a particular species. Then we have our community, which is how those groups of those populations interact with each other. Then we have environment, which is basically everything that is biological and everything that's not biological or abiotic, um, all meshed together. So the only two things we're actually going to be interested in is population and environment. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to use community in the way it's supposed to be used, different individuals, but we're going to change how we're going to define population. Because when we're talking inside population, everybody of a species would be everybody inside a game, so our community is our population. But how we're going to divide up the population is we have our positive players, which try to make it a positive experience. The neutral players, that's where I am, which don't try to get necessarily involved, and the negative players, the people who are being, I guess, negative. I sort of like to be a fly on the wall and see how things come out. Sometimes actually troll the people who are intentionally trying to be negative because that's sort of fun sometimes. Um, but we have to take the negative players and divide them into different groups. There's the people who are just trying to be a terrible influence. Those are the people we're going to be looking at. There's the people who, when things aren't going their way, they're being a negative influence. And then there's the people who are just not trying to be hurtful, but context is lost when it goes across. So we're only going to be focusing on the first group because that's sort of the group that causes the most problems and is always causing a problem. So the first thing we have to sort of look at is why this is in a gaming community and it's not as bad or as prevalent inside an actual community. And the thing that everybody who has ever analyzed this or even talked to anybody about this says it comes down to one thing, and that one thing is anonymity. which means you don't know who they are, and your chance of actually even meeting them inside game or outside of the world is almost zero. And this actually brings up a very, very interesting dynamic. Now, when you enter a very small, tight-knit game community, you won't see this as much. And it's not because there's fewer terrible players. There are, but not because the percentage is lower. The difference is that you're probably going to meet this person again. So these people don't show up as prominently, aren't as terrible, and don't try to be as hurtful as they could be. So that's really important, because I'm actually putting down the theory that these people are cowards, and they probably are, because they are hiding behind this veil, this avatar that they've created for themselves. And when this avatar is likely to be seen again, they're not going to get involved inside this again, because they could be attacked in the future, and not on their own terms. So the first thing we have to establish is these people are cowards. And the second thing I've actually started to establish is population of the community. I mean, how many people are inside the community, because I'm using population as a different word here. But let's actually look at two extremes. Blade Symphony is a small community. And now we're going to compare it to one of the largest communities of online players, which is League of Legends, the most huge community that we can look at. Now, League of Legends has actually been doing a very good job of keeping this down. They have the tribunal. It's slow. They're trying to improve it. But the main thing that I want to say is this is actually a pretty good model for people who have large communities. I'll go into that later, but the model of the community is good, and I'll go into that. But when you take a look at a small community, you won't get these bad players. I keep on hearing that League of Legends is a terrible community, the people inside it are terrible, everything's terrible. Actually, when you take a look at it quite closely, I only see maybe 1 in 50 players inside that demographic that I was talking about. So when we take a look at that demographic, 1 in 50 is a good number for how many people there are inside it. And probably I'd actually have a player of that demographic 1 in 25, because I only count the people on my team when I do the initial count. But that is a good model. The thing I want to get to with the community thing is a larger community usually means more anonymity, and therefore means more terrible players. But League of Legends has actually quelled that quite a bit. And inside Blade Symphony, there's actually a set of rules which the community has set out, and there are no true rules that are actually being reinforced. Now, I'm running a little bit long, and I only really wanted to make this 10 minutes, and we're starting to get closer to 10. So I'm going to actually pick this up in a later video. It'll probably be put up one of these every week until I finish this. So until next week, good luck as always, and next time we'll be talking about rules, and not the rules you might think of, not the rules set out by the people that are there. And I'm Beeman Almighty signing off for now.